Shades of gray are everywhere. No human being is all good or all bad. We all exist in that gray zone.
In the spring of 1783, the hunt was on to find John Bacon.
At that stage of the war, things were done.
With the power of hindsight, we know that the treaties are being negotiated and we know the terms, but the common people did not know that.
The skirmish at Cedar Bridge took place in December. Here we are in April. It's like 4 months later. Nothing's happened in that time, not much of anything.
The government of New Jersey, they basically say, we don't want loyalists. You know, you have no place in the society.
Many of them were driven out of here to Canada, Caribbean. That sort of helped simmer things down when they were driven out of here. There was more patriots than anybody.
Under the protection of war laws, the clock was ticking to retaliate against Bacon and the Pine Robbers.
John Bacon's death, like everything that has to do with John Bacon, can be seen from different perspectives. The pieces are inconsistent, and people have felt the need to fill in details that may or may not be true.
After years of pillaging and plundering and terrorizing the patriots around him in South Jersey, John Bacon finally meets his end on April 3rd, 1783, in what we today refer to as Parkertown.
Bloody John had been on a crime rampage for too long. He'd stolen too much from patriot families, and they were finished with him.
When it's wartime, there's a lot of things you can get away with, and I think that's what really put them into high gear to capture John again. And not to mention a reward. Money entices people to do things.
And they're still looking for him, they're still trying to bring him to justice, and now they're really, really mad.
The death of Joel Cook at Cedar Bridge did not go unnoticed, and it solidified John Bacon's place in his enemy's crosshairs.
And Cook's brother swore revenge.
Joel Cook formed a search patrol. They traveled from Burlington to Ocean County and began searching along the coast, moving toward Clamtown or Tuckerton. On April 3rd, 1783, a rumor spread that John Bacon was spotted stealing items from a shipwreck on Long Beach Island before resting at Rose's Tavern, a public house near Parkertown.
We don't know if he's there because he thought he'd be safe in what might have been a loyalist tavern. Unfortunately for him, some patriots do find out that he's there.
The search party traveled to Rose's Tavern. Thomas Smith went ahead of the group to scout. Peering through a window, he spotted Bacon, alone, sitting at a table with his gun between his knees.
Unfortunately for John Bacon, he is alone, surrounded, and injured.
So they say, "Are you John Bacon?" And he says, "Nope, I'm not John Bacon." And they say, "Oh, you sure look like John Bacon."
Cook was still so incensed over the fact that his brother had been murdered that Cook took a bayonet and stabbed him in the ribs. Bacon went down. He pretended to faint. And then he jumped up like a cat, made a run for the door, and when the militia came after him, he took a table and threw the table at the militia and knocked everybody flying. And he made for the door again.
Unfortunately, he doesn't make his escape. He is instead bayoneted.
Suddenly, Bacon is dead.
Because he is so hated by the patriots, there is a huge dramatic debacle over what is to become of his body.
One version of the story is he's taken to Manahawkin. Now, Manahawkin militia and John Bacon have fought 10 encounters. Bacon always prevailed. The people in Manahawkin are pretty upset with John Bacon.
They weren't done with him yet. They threw his corpse into an old farm wagon, and they paraded him from town to town, showing off their capture of Old Mama's Most Wanted.
They go out to Arnie's Mount. It's a very steep hill. It's a Quaker meeting house, and there's a graveyard there. But they don't want to bury him in the graveyard. They want to bury him at the crossroads of the two roads because supposedly if a traitor is buried at a crossroads, their soul can never rest. So then they take his body to Arnie's town.
John Bacon's wife and brother come out and petition to get his body back and give him a proper burial, which they do.
Supposedly they bury him on the side of the road, and supposedly in time, the road is expanded over Bacon's grave. I'm sure there has been embellishment and just good old-fashioned storytelling, but Bacon is dead.
As far as heroes and villains during the Revolutionary War, it was not very simple.
We have no idea what John Bacon's motives were.
There's nothing redeeming about Bacon. We don't even have Robin Hood stories about Bacon, right? We don't have stories about him taking his goods and giving them to loyalists who can't eat or something. We have no stories like that.
We certainly do not have anything written by him, and we don't even have accounts written by others quoting him.
So it wasn't a simple history. You know, this guy wrote this down. Well, the guy who wrote it down might have been the only guy who wrote a book about it, so that's what the history was.
He could be scapegoated as the worst of the Loyalist villains because he did the most damage to the Patriot cause.
His story is written by the people who hated him.
People that hated each other had 95% of everything in common.
As a 21st century American, it's almost impossible for me to identify what it must have been like to be in that Civil War. We have people in our communities, people from Central America, from Colombia, from Venezuela, maybe even from Iraq or Afghanistan, who have lived that experience. These are really hard-fought disagreements over time. In the Revolutionary War, this was really, really bitter, and I can't believe that there weren't emotional and psychological scars. The death of John Bacon and the way that it happened is the end of the Revolutionary War in New Jersey.